Chapter 311, Beginning of Inheritance, Sacrifice, Seagod Douluo, TL by Babelson. But the price for the Seagod's inheritance is Lord Bosexy's life. See which watched that already closed gate. Her voice choked. Don't tell me you've forgotten. How much of what we have today was granted us by Lord Bosexy. Without the Lord, there is no us. But now we have to watch her die. I can't stand it. Seahorse Douluo sighed. You've also seen the Lord's circumstances. Maybe this is the best outcome for her. Ever since that person came here again, the Lord has changed. Don't tell me you can't see that her heart died along with that person. Life is even more painful to her. Fine, all of you shut up. Let us wait for the Lord Seagod's descent. This is also what Lord Bosexy prayed for. Sea Dragon Douluo silently stepped forward, kneeling on one knee with both hands at his chest, no longer speaking. The other 6 Guardian Douluo, including the unreconciled Sea Witch, all lined up behind Sea Dragon Douluo and knelt. Their faces were filled with sincere sadness, silently praying. Inside the Seagod Palace, after the gates closed, this place instantly turned pitch black. Although it wasn't their first time here, this time everything felt completely different. Xiao Wu, Daimo Bai, Oscar, Ning Rongrong, Ma Hongjian and Zhu King's gazes all focused on Tang San. He was going to undergo the Seagod's inheritance. If he succeeded, he would become a true god. A god. An actual god. Everyone unconsciously breathed faster, their gazes towards Tang San also turning somewhat subtle. What they felt most was excitement and admiration. Of course, there was also a trace of worry, even though they didn't know how much influence the Seagod's heartbreaking would have on Tang San's inheritance. They all knew that the inheritance of a divinity was very risky business. Daimo Bai sharply raised his right hand, grabbing Tang San's shoulder. Little San, you have to succeed. Oscar brought all kinds of high-level sausages, holding them out to Tang San, supporting him by action. Tang San smiled and shook his head to him. Human spirit master support abilities were useless for gods. This was something Tang San discovered when he was unable to rely on Ning Rongrong's 9 treasure-glazed power pagoda while mobilizing the Asura god's power to kill the deep-sea demon whale king. Therefore, these sausages would be no use during the inheritance. Ma Hongjian directly gave Tang San a big bear hug. Third brother, you've always been my idol. In my heart, nothing is impossible for you. This is the same. Ning Rongrong coordinated with Zhu King, the 2 women stepping up to Tang San, one on the right and one on the left. Standing on tiptoes, they kissed his cheek. Ning Rongrong giggled. Everyone says that beauty's encouragement can give infinite strength. Third brother, don't disappoint us. Strangely, Daimo Bai and Oscar didn't show any jealousy, only encouragement. Xiao Wu was last to step up to Tang San as the others stepped aside without looking in their direction. The last moments were set aside for them. Tang San held Xiao Wu's hands, pulling them next to his mouth. Xiao Wu, I asked you to marry me and you agreed. Don't worry, no matter how difficult or painful, to make you my bride, I will definitely succeed. The rims of Xiao Wu's eyes were red as she violently leapt into Tang San's embrace, tightly holding his face, looking at him numbly. I love you. For me, you have to live. Remember, no matter if you're human, god, or ghost, I will always be by your side. Tang San of course understood Xiao Wu's implied meaning, and his heart abruptly tightened. Hugging Xiao Wu hard, he left a hickey on that blood-red brand on her forehead. Then letting go, he quickly leapt up, appearing on the platform where he once drew the Seagod trident with a blur. Instantly, the Shrek 6 devils clearly felt a special energy wave filling their surroundings, and the magic patterns on their foreheads appeared once again. Whether black 5-pointed stars, 6-pointed stars, or Xiao Wu's red 7-pointed stars, light brightened on their foreheads almost simultaneously, increasing the splendor in this dark world somewhat. As if drawn by a strange force, the 6 leapt up simultaneously, landing on their respective platforms. Seagod Douluo Bosexy's low voice reverberated in the Seagod Palace. Are you all ready? Yes, we're ready, including Tang San. The Shrek 7 devils all shouted at once. The moment that would decide the future had arrived. It would be impossible to not be nervous now, but at this kind of moment, they no longer had any way to retreat. Firm faith in certain success, filled their hearts. Everyone brought out their optimal states. Bosexy slowly waved the golden scepter in her hand, 3 meters long, covered with magic lines, and at its lance-like tip was a rhombic protrusion. 5 cum below the tip, a golden rhombic gem was embedded. As Bosexy raised it high, bright golden light instantly ignited from that rhombic gem. Instantly, the Seagod Palace was illuminated. Stand on the center of the platform. Bosexy spoke faintly. At this moment her face flushed red, and in just an instant, she seemed to become young once again, bursting with energy. The sadness in her eyes disappeared, replaced by intense excitement. Bosexy faced upward and cried. After 100 years of waiting, the moment has finally arrived. Great Lord Seagod. Your servant can finally complete her mission. Faint golden light began to rise from below her. In this moment, she seemed to enter a special trace. That faint golden light was Bosexy's spirit power. This was also the first time the Shrek 7 devils saw the true power of the Seagod Douluo. Awash in that faint golden light, Bosexy's hair moved without wind. Hidden under the golden light, one spirit ring after another emerged from her body. Each spirit ring was covered by a golden luster, and it could be vaguely seen that even the lowest of the 9 spirit rings was a 10,000-year level. This was the strength of the high priest protecting the Seagod island. The Seagod Douluo, without a doubt, the first-rate 8 trials she once underwent were enormously beneficial to her. This power who was unequaled on the continent as long as she was in the range of the ocean, now used her strength to ignite the sacred ceremony. Glittering golden light growing more and more intense, illuminated every corner of the Seagod Palace. The magic patterns Tang San once ignited when he drew the Seagod trident, now brightened once again under the illumination of Bosexy's golden light. A sacred presence stripped all distracting thoughts from each person's heart. Although this was Tang San's divinity inheritance, being able to see the scene was extremely important to the other 6 Shrek 7 devils as well. Just having truly experienced the baptism of this kind of divine power gave them the chance of reaching this level at some point in the future. Tang San stood next to Bosexy, silently shocked at the energy Bosexy radiated. He had originally thought that after his spirit power reached rank 99, it should be enough to compare to powers on Bosexy's level. But in fact, after Bosexy truly revealed her might, Tang San understood that even rank 99 powers had differences in strength. If BB Dong was compared to Bosexy, they basically wouldn't be on the same level. The presence Bosexy had was undoubtedly the power of the Seagod, and moreover, the Seagod's energy had influenced every part of her. Even her 9 spirit rings were steeped in the Seagod's presence. If he had to bring someone up for comparison, then Tang San could only think of Chen Rinshu. The Bosexy before him was like Chen Rinshu without her 10th spirit ring. Even though she was still rank 99, without a doubt, she was already one step into the god level, only eternally unable to truly take that step due to the mission given her. No wonder that even the deep-sea demon whale king didn't dare approach Seagod Island, for all its strength, and dared even less fight against it. With Bosexy here, plus the Seagod's power condensed on the island, it would be nearly impossible even for Chen Rinshu to destroy it if she wanted. This was the power left on the Seagod Island, and also the power Bosexy obtained from her devotion to the Seagod. Faint light flashed, and Tang San's expression grew extremely tranquil, silently waiting for the last moment to approach. With a blur, Bosexy changed position, moving from standing next to Tang San to standing in front of him, facing him. Now even Bosexy's eyes had turned golden, and her 9 spirit rings expanded simultaneously to more than 3 meters in diameter. Tang San only felt a hot energy sweep past him, before he was completely enveloped within Bosexy's 9 spirit rings. 9 faintly golden spirit rings encircled 2 people at once. It was the first time the Shrek 7 devils had seen such a marvel. The enormous energy fluctuations were still extremely gentle, but the illuminated Seagod Palace had become incredibly dazzling. Bright magic patterns mostly in the form of waves appeared in the Seagod Palace, densely covering the roof, walls, as well as the 7 platforms they stood on. That golden light slowly flowed like mercury, hallowed energy waves making the atmosphere seem awash with the Seagod's presence. The scepter in Bosexy's hand was now between her and Tang San, the golden rhombic gem growing brighter and brighter, but this light still didn't hurt the eyes. Illuminated under that golden light, the Seagod trident brand on Tang San's forehead also slowly brightened, a warm feeling spreading instantly through his entire body. In this moment, Tang San felt like every cell in his body grew lively, dancing happily. It was also at this moment that the Asura god energy that had never been forced back by the Seagod energy was slowly suppressed by that gentle warm energy, drop by drop shedding from Tang San's left arm, no longer able to stop the Seagod's power from spreading through Tang San's entire body. San's entire body. Vaguely, Tang San seemed to feel the Asura god's power being forced back into his clear sky hammer by the Seagod's power that Bosexy drew down on the Seagod palace. This Seagod palace felt like a giant spell formation, and the platform where Tang San stood was its eye. A golden six-pointed star began to shine from below Tang San and Bosexy. This enormous golden star was 5 meters in diameter, and the 6 corners each pointed to the 6 other platforms. Golden lines of light released from the corners, shooting to those 6 stages. Instantly, 6 enormous pillars of golden light burst from those 6 platforms, each pillar covering their respective platform, and also simultaneously swallowing Tang San's 6 companions. The 6 devils clearly felt themselves being pulled by a strange energy, their mental strength entering a strange world. In this world, a kind of special psychic wave seemed to meld their souls together, their thoughts. They felt like they were 6 pillars supporting a roof, their bodies completely immobile, even the rhythm of their breathing controlled by that golden light. Bosexy gazed at Tang San, the corners of her mouth revealing a faint smile. Tang San, are you truly prepared? Tang San didn't retreat, his clear eyes gazing into Bosexy's eyes. Yes, I'm ready. Bosexy's voice suddenly grew solemn. The Seagod is the god controlling all creatures of the ocean. As the Seagod's successor, you will spare no effort to guard your people. Tang San, can you accomplish it? Tang San said without hesitation. I can. Bosexy spoke again. The Seagod represents light, the ruler of the ocean. Can you keep your heart fair for eternity, forever using the Seagod's power for righteousness? Tang San once again answered with certainty. I can certainly bring the Seagod's justice to the human world. Bosexy said. The Seagod possesses the power to control all oceans. As the Seagod's successor, the new Seagod, you must always remember to never disgrace the Seagod's dignity, to scatter the Seagod's divine light to every corner of the oceans, using your divine power to assist your people, to let no foreign enemy invade. Yes, I will certainly do it. Bosexy's gaze seemed to pierce Tang San, and as their eyes met, Tang San didn't try to dodge or stop her, allowing Bosexy's strict gaze to see the depths of his eyes, as if observing his soul. He knew that Bosexy's questions weren't formality, but rather inquiring on behalf of the Seagod, and also stemmed from the Seagod's trials. If at this time Tang San's heart held a trace of hesitation, then he would be unable to inherit the Seagod's power. What Bosexy observed was the world of Tang San's heart, and what she saw was a flawless inner world. Nodding with satisfaction, Bosexy pointed the scepter forward, touching that golden rhombic gem to the Seagod trident brand on Tang San's forehead. The Seagod's glory is yours to continue. A scorching hot energy suddenly poured into Tang San's mind from that rhombic gem. Tang San only felt his soul seem to explode, and that familiar ancient, deep and resounding voice echoed once again, brimming with passion. Seagod 9 trials. The 9th trial, Seagod inheritance, begins. Without need for further explanation, just these 9 simple words immediately made Tang San's energies rise to an unprecedented peak. 6 years of painstaking effort, passing 8 Seagod trials. This last moment finally approached. How could Tang San not be excited? Light flashed, and Bosexy's raised the scepter high, a golden light shooting out like lightning, directly striking the peak of the temple. Instantly, intense golden light poured from the sky, the 6-pointed star under Tang San's feet instantly brightening. Golden light flash, an intense light covered Tang San and Bosexy completely. At this moment the golden light shot from the scepter spread out, forming altogether 13 lines of light that fell from the sky, forming 13 golden flames around the 6-pointed star. An immense golden shadow gradually appeared behind Bosexy. Tang San was only too familiar with this shadow. It had once saved his life and taught him the divine abilities. The Seagod. Only, the Seagod shadow that appeared behind Bosexy was much more distinct than what Tang San once saw. Even though it still wasn't clear, its gorgeous golden armor was still visible. The sacred gate is on the verge of opening. The Seagod's divinity on the verge of descending. Seagod candidate. Enter the gate the Seagod opens for you. Use your strength, your heart, your soul and your everything to accept the Seagod's final trial. Bosexy's voice suddenly grew incredibly high, her emotion seeming to reach an unprecedented crescendo. The scepter she held shattered, and along with it, the 9 spirit rings enveloping her and Tang San. The moment those 9 spirit rings shattered, Tang San felt the space around him transform, everything becoming unreal. He could no longer move, his whole body held in place by an unimaginably vast force. Intense golden flame soared around him. The energy that seemed to be the remnants of Bosexy's shattered spirit rings was also aflame, as well as Bosexy's herself, the divinity and dignity in her expression gradually fading. Looking at Tang San, all that remained was a kind gaze. No, Tang San wanted to shout, but he could produce no voice. The golden flames devouring Bosexy turned from faint to bright gold, and then to pure gold, and Bosexy's body also gradually faded as the color changed. Child, don't be sad. This is my mission. The day I became High Priest of Seagod Island, and Supervisor of the Seagod Palace, this day was destined to come. As the High Priest of Seagod Island, I not only protect the island, spreading the Seagod's favor, at the same time I also became the guide of the new generation Seagod. Now, all this is accomplished. Next, you can only rely on your own strength. Child, I have lived for more than 100 years, like your grandfather. At our age, it's not a premature end. No need to be sad. I must complete the mission given me by the Lord Seagod. In this, I am the same as Chen Dalu. I can tell you now that, although Chen Rinshu has become God, as her guide, Chen Dalu is the same as me, sacrificed for the inheritance of divinity. This is what we must do, using our bodies as bridge to draw the true divine power, helping you complete the inheritance of divinity. If Tang Chen was still alive, maybe I would have regrets, but he left one step ahead of me, so what is there to be reluctant about? Tang San's eyes were already hazy. At this moment, many memory fragments appeared in his mind. He still clearly remembered how Bosexy had exposed killing intent in the middle of the test when she learned he would undergo the Seagod 9 trials. Now he understood Bosexy's reaction. His Seagod inheritance required the Seagod Douluo's life as guide. Tang San also recalled the expressions of the 7 sacred Seagod Pillar Guardian Douluo when they met again. It was not frustration at losing their lifelong mission, but rather sadness that Seagod Douluo Bosexy was about to give her life for the Seagod inheritance. If he had known this earlier, would he still have chosen to inherit the Seagod? To continue the Seagod, Bosexy had not only given her youth, her lifetime, in the end she would still give her life. Child, don't cry. Death is not frightening. To me, this is instead a release. Originally, when you began the Seagod 9 trials, my heart was still unwilling, even unbalanced and rejecting. I also once tried to use my power to influence your trials. That wasn't because I feared death, and even less because I wanted to reject the Lord Seagod's mission, but rather because in my heart there was still some matters not yet finished. I still wanted to see Tang Chen, and you've already fulfilled my wish. We cannot be companions in this world, so now it's my turn to follow him. I believe that I can definitely be with him in another world. Now, you can only rely on your own strength. Even if you no longer have the Seagod Trident's aid, I've already seen you create miracles. I trust that this time will be no exception. You must succeed. You must become the true Seagod. In bringing you to the road of the Seagod's inheritance, to see you take this last step. Actually, I'm luckier than Tang Chen. Go, child, use your strength, courage and boundless will to accept the Lord Seagod's final trial. I wish you success. Bosexy's voice gradually grew distant, her body also gradually disappearing in that golden flame. At this moment the surrounding energy suddenly became ruthless, the pure golden light suddenly becoming a giant pillar, completely swallowing Tang San. Tang San's heart was in so much pain. Tang Chen's death had upset him considerably, and Bosexy now sacrificing her life for him was like daggers cutting his heart. These elders still had to experience such torment in their later years. Heaven was too unjust. Violent pain corroded Tang San's heart. Even though the surroundings grew hotter and hotter, it was nothing compared to the pain within. Senior Bosexy, what you paid will not be in vain. I will definitely succeed your great-grandfather's wishes, and obtain the Seagod's inheritance. Tang San was a stubborn person. He absolutely wouldn't sink into grief. He would only make it his strength. In this instant, his willpower grew incomparably solid, watching the surrounding golden flames without a hint of fear and straightening his back. It was also because of this movement that Tang San discovered he could move again. All the pure golden flames suddenly dwindled, and a gate of pure golden flame appeared before him, described as a door, yet not truly a door, that looked like a portal of flame. The pure golden flame seemed to beckon to him. Tang San knew that this was what Bosexy had traded her life for, the gate of the Seagod inheritance. She had opened this gate. Forcefully drawing a deep breath, filling his lungs, Tang San gripped the Seagod trident in his right hand, and stepped towards the golden gate without looking back. By the sea, Chen Rinshu dressed in gorgeous palace dress opened her eyes without warning, looking out over the boundless ocean, 2 tangible golden flames suddenly shooting from her eyes. Behind her, the angelic holy sword appeared, slowly floating out in front of her. A somewhat strained expression appeared on Chen Rinshu's face. It's starting. Tang San, you really don't disappoint me. Worthy of the only man I have looked upon in my life. I'll wait for you here. Once you have inherited the Seagod, let's see if you can defeat me, or if I can conquer you. No longer working to prevent Tang San from inheriting divinity, Chen Ringchu's divine senses had already become incomparably clear, without the slightest distracting thoughts. Her heart had also been cultivated to truly enter the level of gods in this time. All the powers of the god of angels were bit by bit being digested and absorbed. She had now truly become the god of angels, truly obtained the power of gods. Passing through that golden flame gate, Tang San felt his whole body restrained by enormous pressure seeming trying to crush him. But after stepping through the gate, all the pressure instantly disappeared. The surrounding scenery transformed, revealing another world. It was a world of blue. Just arriving here, Tang San discovered that even though there was no pressure, he was still unable to breathe. Around him was piercing blue, and he was descending. Tang San calmly sized up his surroundings. As he descended, he had already sensed what kind of place he was in. Different from the true angelic shrine where Chen Ringchu inherited the god of angels, Tang San arrived in an underwater world. The god of angels belonged to the sky, and the sea god belonged to the ocean. Therefore, when the god of angels was inherited, Chen Ringchu was in the angel shrine in the infinite starry sky, and Tang San inherited the sea god, so he appeared at the bottom of the sea. Of course, this ocean world didn't exist in the real world. This place could only be reached through the gate of the sea god's inheritance. That he was sinking was clearly because of the sea god trident's weight. Tang San was sinking very quickly, and the pressure around him was also growing, but the rays of light around him didn't change with the depth. This was the place for the sea god's inheritance. Tang San used a ray of sea god's light to control his sea god trident, keeping its weight the same as the buoyancy of the water around him. At the same time, he floated in place in the sea with unchanging light. First he would observe the circumstances around him, stabilizing his body, fixing his attention, burying the grief from Bosek's sacrifice at the bottom of his heart. Tang San began to size up everything he saw. As he looked down, he instantly grew incomparably shocked. For a moment he became completely motionless. What was that? What Tang San saw was a palace. Yes, 1,000 meters below him, in the sea of unchanging light, silently stood a vast palace. With spirit power at rank 99 and peak achievements in mysterious heaven skill, Tang San could completely rely on internal breathing to support himself. At least there wouldn't be any problems anytime soon. But as he saw this strange scene, he nearly inhaled seawater. That palace was 10 times larger than the Heaven Do Imperial Palace Tang San had seen. Even from 1,000 meters away, it was still imposing. The palace was situated alone on the seabed, and by eye, it was at least 200 meters tall, and a kilometer both wide and long. What a grand palace. Moreover, around it was a faintly golden barrier of light. It seemed to be this barrier that illuminated this ocean world. Too beautiful, Tang San couldn't help sighing inwardly. This should be the true Seagod temple. Using the Seagod trident's weight, Tang San slowly descended towards the Seagod temple. The place to inherit the Seagod's divinity was without a doubt this Seagod temple. Very soon, Tang San arrived by that golden barrier. Just as he was about to enter the light, a problem appeared. An ice-cold voice without any semblance of life echoed in the seawater. Due to the voice, the water even rippled slightly. Only holders of the Seagod's heart may enter the Seagod temple. Without the Seagod's heart, you may not enter. Where the voice came from and who issued it wasn't important to Tang San. What was important was the discovery that he really was unable to enter this very faint golden light barrier. What energy formed it was unknown, but it was extremely solid, firmly separating Tang San outside. What to do? If he couldn't enter the barrier, without a doubt, he couldn't undergo the Seagod's inheritance. But how could Tang San obtain the Seagod's heart? In order to save him, the Seagod's heart had already shattered, seeing the inheritance in front of him. But having lost the Seagod's heart, Tang San was in trouble. Tang San calmly sat down on the light barrier, without being discouraged by the problem in front of him. He clearly understood that since the Seagod's divine intent had willingly sacrificed the Seagod's heart for him, this inheritance wouldn't be hopeless. Moreover, even though this light barrier felt solid, he simply judged that it was at most equal to a god-level defense. And to a certain degree, through the great Samuro Hammer technique plus his own strength, Tang San already possessed god-level attack power. Perhaps, breaking this barrier wasn't impossible. While thinking, Tang San moved the Seagod trident to his other hand, turning the blade down, holding the haft with both hands. Gravity control started, making the Seagod trident instantly reach 1,080,000 jin in weight. At the same time, he also released his clear sky hammer spirit. All his spirit power suddenly congregated, the Seagod's light also shooting like lightning from the Seagod trident brand on his forehead, pouring into the Seagod trident. He was going to destroy this light barrier and force his way into the Seagod temple. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.